My beloved child, listen carefully. This message is not random, and it is not here by accident. Right now, as you are listening, something unseen is moving around your family. It does not make noise. It does not announce itself. It hides behind ordinary days, normal conversations, and familiar faces. And that is why it is dangerous in a silent way, because most people never notice until it is too late. You felt a strange heaviness today, a sudden pause in your chest, a thought about a family member that came without reason. That was not imagination. There is a moment approaching that can change everything. Not tomorrow, not someday, very soon. And what makes this moment different is this: you are being shown it before it happens. Most people never get this warning. Something is circling close to your family line. It is not about fear. It is about timing. One small moment, one missed sign, one ignored feeling, and the outcome becomes permanent. But if you act with awareness, the path shifts. This is why you must not rush away from this message, because the power you have right now is rare. It is the power of attention, the power of interruption, the power to slow down what is speeding forward unseen. There is one person in your family who has been acting differently lately, maybe quieter, maybe more restless, maybe unusually tired, distracted, or emotionally distant. Others may say, "It's nothing," but your spirit knows better. Pay attention to who came into your mind when I said that. That is not coincidence. The reason this message reaches you now is because you are the connector in your family. You are the one who notices patterns. You are the one who feels when something is off. Even if no one listens to you, you still sense it. And right now, sensing is enough to change the direction. There is a fragile point ahead, one decision, one journey, one emotional moment, one choice that seems small on the surface. If it continues without pause, the consequences ripple outward, not just for one person, but for everyone who loves them. But here is the truth that most people never hear: nothing is fixed yet. You are not here to be scared. You are here to be awakened. Because awareness creates delay. Delay creates protection. Protection creates a new outcome. You may feel an urge to reach out, to check on someone, to ask a question you normally would not ask, to say, "Wait," or "Let's do this another time," or "I just want to be sure you're okay." Do not ignore that urge. That is how intervention begins, quietly, gently, without drama. This message is not asking you to panic. Panic blinds. This message is asking you to become present. Presence opens doors you cannot see yet. Something that looked unavoidable can still be redirected. And the reason it can be redirected is because you are listening now. Stay with this message. Do not skip ahead. What comes next reveals exactly what kind of moment you are standing in, and how close you are to changing everything. Stay here. What you are about to hear is the reason everything has felt heavy, confusing, and strangely urgent in your life lately. There are seasons when ordinary logic stops working. You pray, but the answer feels delayed. You think, but clarity does not arrive. You move forward, yet something inside keeps saying, "Pause." This is not weakness. This is not doubt. This is a warning wrapped in protection. When God prepares to intervene, He first creates awareness. He does not shout. He aligns signs. He repeats patterns. He places pressure on your spirit so you will slow down before something irreversible happens. Think back to the last few days. Interrupted sleep. Sudden emotional waves. A memory of a family member appearing out of nowhere. A sense that time feels compressed, like something is approaching faster than usual. These are not random experiences. They are signals. God often chooses one person in a family line to become the watchful one, the one who notices before others do, the one who feels the shift before it becomes visible. That person is rarely the loudest, rarely the most confident, but always the most sensitive to truth. That is why you are here now. What is happening around you is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to position you. Because protection does not always arrive as an event. Sometimes it arrives as information. You are being shown that a family situation is standing at a fragile crossroads. One direction leads to peace and continuation. The other leads to loss that echoes for years. And the difference between these paths is not strength or control. It is obedience to a quiet inner voice. There is a moment coming where timing matters more than intention. Saying something a little earlier, delaying something just once, changing a routine, paying attention to who should not be alone at a certain time. These are not dramatic actions. They are simple, and that is why people miss them. But you will not. Because God does not reveal danger without also revealing escape. You may have felt distant from your faith recently, or overwhelmed, or unsure why prayers felt unanswered. But hear this clearly, silence does not mean absence. Sometimes it means God is moving behind the scenes where you cannot see yet. This message is proof. You are not being punished. You are being trusted. Trusted with awareness. Trusted with responsibility. Trusted to interrupt a chain of events before it completes itself. And here is the part most people never realize until afterward. When God warns you, it is already an act of protection. Nothing has happened yet. Nothing is sealed. Nothing is beyond change. But the window is narrow. Your role right now is not to solve everything. It is to stay alert. To listen more than you speak. To take that extra moment before decisions are made around you. And above all, to remain present. Because what comes next will reveal exactly how close you are to shifting the outcome, and why this message reached you at this exact moment. There is a reason the pressure around your life has intensified lately, not because you are failing, not because you are weak, but because you are standing at a turning point that few people ever recognize while they are inside it. This season feels confusing because it is transitional. Things feel delayed, misaligned, or strangely quiet because something is being rearranged behind the scenes. What you thought was falling apart was actually being held back on purpose. You have been protected more times than you realize. Moments that should have gone one way suddenly shifted. Conversations that almost happened were interrupted. Plans that seemed certain were postponed without explanation. You may have felt frustrated, but those pauses were not empty. They were intentional. When God prepares to intervene, He does not always speak loudly. Sometimes He changes the timing. Sometimes He places resistance where you expected ease. Sometimes He makes you uncomfortable enough to stop and look again. And right now, you are being asked to look again. There is a pattern forming around you. Repeated thoughts. Repeated signs. Repeated emotions that come and go without warning. You are not imagining these things. They are markers. Quiet signals meant to slow you down and sharpen your awareness. This is how protection works for chosen ones, not through fear, not through panic, but through clarity. You may have noticed a deep pull to pray differently, think differently, or speak differently lately. Even your silence has meaning now. That is because your spirit is being recalibrated to hear what matters and ignore what distracts. Something significant is being withheld until the timing is right. And that timing depends on alignment. Alignment of thought. Alignment of intention. Alignment of heart. You are being prepared to receive guidance that will not come through noise, but through knowing. A calm certainty. A firm inner voice that says, this way, not that way. That voice will matter soon. This is why distractions have tried to multiply. This is why emotional pressure has tried to cloud your judgment. This is why ordinary decisions suddenly feel heavier than before. Because clarity is power. And power attracts opposition before it brings breakthrough. What you are experiencing now is not punishment. It is positioning. God does not warn to frighten. He warns to guide. He redirects because He values what is ahead of you and those connected to you. Stay steady. Do not rush decisions. Do not ignore gentle nudges. Do not dismiss the quiet check in your spirit. The next part of this message will reveal how to recognize the exact moment when intervention is required, and how simple obedience can change the entire outcome. Stay with this. This is not the time to look away. Something is aligning right now, and it explains everything you could not put into words these past days. The confusion you felt was not weakness. The pressure you felt was not failure. The heaviness you carried was not random. It was the signal that a turning point was approaching your family line. There are moments when protection arrives quietly, not as noise, not as drama, but as awareness placed into one person's heart. That person is you. You are positioned here because you are trusted with insight. You are trusted with timing. What is happening around you is not punishment. It is preparation. Certain events do not announce themselves. They move through habits, routines, repeated paths, familiar environments. That is why guidance is released before impact, not after. You are receiving understanding early so that you can shift what others cannot yet see. Pay attention to how ordinary days suddenly feel intense. Pay attention to how small choices feel heavier than usual. Pay attention to the urge to slow things down. Those are not delays. Those are shields. There is someone in your family who is standing at a crossroads without realizing it. Nothing dramatic on the surface. Just a sequence of moments that could continue unchanged, or could be gently redirected. Your awareness is the redirection. Protection does not always mean stopping something. Sometimes it means softening a moment. Sometimes it means changing the order. Sometimes it means simply being present at the right time. And that is why you are here. This season is teaching you how guidance works. It is not loud. It does not force. It nudges. It repeats. It returns to you again and again until you listen. You may have wondered why certain plans kept shifting, why timing felt off, why something inside you said, "Not now." That was not confusion. That was alignment adjusting itself. You are being shown how to position yourself, calm, attentive, grounded, aware. When you move this way, outcomes change without struggle. Paths bend. What felt inevitable becomes flexible. This message is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to strengthen you. Because the truth is this: protection is already active. Guidance is already working. You are not late. You are early. Remain steady. Remain observant. Remain willing to pause what others rush. What is unfolding now will later make sense in a way that brings relief, not regret. You will look back and realize that one moment of awareness changed everything. And you will know why you were chosen to receive this understanding before anyone else. Everything you have experienced recently has been pointing to this moment. The confusion you felt. The pressure that seemed to come from nowhere. The emotional weight that made simple days feel heavy. None of it was random. There are seasons when God speaks softly, and there are seasons when He speaks urgently. This is an urgent season, not because something bad must happen, but because something important must be understood before time moves forward again. You may have noticed delays around you, plans slowing down, conversations pausing, people hesitating where they were once confident. That is not resistance. That is protection quietly activating. God does not always remove the path. Sometimes He slows the footsteps. This is why you felt unsettled without knowing why. Your spirit sensed a pause being placed over your life and your family. A divine interruption designed to redirect outcomes before they fully form. You are being guided, not frightened. There is a pattern God uses with His chosen ones. Before major shifts, He allows awareness to rise. He sharpens intuition. He stirs the heart. He brings messages that make you stop and reflect. That is what is happening now. Certain things around you felt repetitive. The same thoughts returning. The same concerns resurfacing. The same names crossing your mind. This repetition is not anxiety. It is alignment forming. God is asking you to slow down your reactions and heighten your awareness. There is someone close to you whose path is being gently adjusted, not through force, not through fear, through timing and presence. Your role is not to control. Your role is to notice. Notice when something does not feel right. Notice when silence feels louder than words. Notice when you feel called to pause a conversation or suggest a delay. These are not small actions. God often protects through ordinary moments that feel insignificant at first. A postponed plan, a changed schedule, a deeper conversation, a moment of stillness. You were chosen to recognize these moments. That is why this message feels personal. Because it is. You are not being asked to understand everything at once. You are being asked to trust the quiet guidance forming inside you. The calm knowing that something is being rearranged for good. What you thought was confusion was actually preparation. What you thought was pressure was actually alignment. What you thought was delay was actually mercy. God is positioning you to be a channel of peace in a moment that requires clarity. Do not rush past this season. Do not silence the inner nudge. Do not dismiss the pause. This is how protection works when God moves quietly. And what is being protected right now is more valuable than you realize. Stay with this message. What comes next reveals how this season shifts, and why everything begins to feel lighter after this moment. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear explains why the pressure has increased lately, and why it is not meant to crush you. There are seasons when life feels unusually heavy, even when nothing obvious is wrong. You wake up tired. Your thoughts feel crowded. Old memories resurface without invitation. You question your direction, your relationships, even your purpose. This is not confusion by accident. This is a signal. When God is preparing to shift something important, the spirit feels it before the mind understands it. That is why you have felt pulled inward. That is why distractions no longer satisfy you. That is why noise feels exhausting and silence feels necessary. You are being repositioned. Most people think signs always come loudly, but the most powerful signs come quietly, through patterns, delays, interruptions, and inner nudges that refuse to go away. What you have been experiencing is not resistance. It is refinement. Something has been removed from your path recently. A plan slowed down. A conversation did not happen. A door did not open the way you expected. At the time, it felt frustrating. Now understand this. That pause was protection. God often protects by delaying, not by explaining. You may have wondered why certain people feel distant lately. Why familiar energy feels unfamiliar. Why your spirit feels guarded even when your heart wants to trust. This is discernment growing inside you. You are learning to see beyond words and notice alignment. And here is the once in a lifetime truth most people never realize. When God is about to release clarity, confusion shows up first, not to defeat you, but to force you to listen more deeply. That is why this message found you now. There is something being prepared for you that cannot arrive while your attention is scattered. It requires awareness. It requires stillness. It requires you to trust what you feel, even when others do not see it yet. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are being redirected. The reason you feel emotionally sensitive right now is because your spirit is tuning itself to truth. You are becoming more aware of what no longer belongs in your life. And awareness is the beginning of alignment. Pay attention to repeated thoughts that feel calm, not loud. Pay attention to moments when your heart feels settled, not rushed. That is where guidance lives. This season is asking you to slow down, not to stop moving, but to move with intention. To choose carefully. To listen closely. To trust that the uneasiness you felt was not a threat, but a signal of change. What is coming next will make sense of everything you questioned. And if you remain present, what was once overwhelming will soon feel ordered, purposeful, and clear. Do not leave now. The next part reveals how to recognize the exact moment when direction replaces confusion, and how to be ready when it happens. Stay here with me. There is a reason this moment feels heavier than the others. It is because clarity is arriving, and clarity often feels like pressure before it feels like peace. What you have been experiencing lately is not confusion without purpose. It is alignment in progress. When things begin to shift internally, the outer world often looks unstable for a while. That does not mean you are lost. It means you are being repositioned. You may have noticed delays, silence, sudden pauses where answers used to come easily. That is not rejection. That is protection. Sometimes guidance steps in by slowing everything down so your spirit can catch up with what your future is asking of you. There are signs around you right now that you almost ignored. Repeated thoughts. Familiar names returning in unexpected ways. Memories resurfacing without explanation. These are not distractions. These are signals. You are being gently redirected. What makes this season intense is that you are standing between who you were and who you are becoming. That space can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming. But it is also where strength is built quietly. You were never meant to carry everything alone. Yet you have been doing exactly that. Holding emotions you never expressed, decisions you never shared, responsibilities you never asked for. That is why your heart feels tired, even when your body keeps moving. This message is not here to add weight. It is here to remove it. There is a release happening now. Not all at once, but layer by layer. Old patterns are loosening. Old fears are losing their grip. What once controlled your reactions is slowly losing its power. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where preparation happens. Something meaningful is being arranged on your behalf. It will not arrive loudly. It will arrive clearly. You will recognize it by the calm it brings, not the noise. Pay attention to what brings peace without effort. That is where you are being led. You are not being tested. You are being strengthened. And this season, as heavy as it feels, will become the foundation for a stability you have never experienced before. Stay open. Stay present. What unfolds next depends on your willingness to trust what you already feel inside. Do not rush away from this moment. The understanding you have been seeking is closer than you think. Stay here for a moment. Do not rush past this. What you are feeling right now is not confusion. It is alignment beginning to happen. There are seasons in life when everything feels heavy, when pressure builds without explanation, when your heart feels full and empty at the same time. This is one of those seasons. And it is not happening by chance. You have been sensing that something is shifting. Small signs repeating. Delays where you expected movement. Silence where you expected answers. This is not because you are forgotten. It is because something is being rearranged quietly around you. Many people misunderstand this phase. They think silence means absence. But silence often means preparation. Right now, your spirit is being tuned. Not everyone is chosen for this process. Some people move through life without ever being paused like this. But you were paused for a reason, because what is coming toward you requires clarity, not noise. There is a deeper intelligence guiding your steps right now. It speaks through patterns, through inner nudges, through moments that feel too specific to be random. You may have noticed yourself thinking about the same idea again and again, or being drawn away from certain people, conversations, or habits without fully understanding why. That is guidance. You are being repositioned. What feels like delay is actually protection wrapped in patience. What feels like pressure is strength being formed quietly. And what feels like uncertainty is simply the space before understanding arrives. Here is the part most people never hear. When you are being prepared for something meaningful, comfort is often removed first. Not to punish you, but to sharpen your focus. You are being taught to listen differently, to trust your inner voice more than external noise, to recognize truth even when it arrives softly. This is why certain things have not worked out the way you expected. This is why some doors closed without explanation. They were not mistakes. They were redirections. And you are closer than you think. Something has been forming behind the scenes, something that fits you, not something that drains you. It requires you to stand where you are now, not where you were before. That is why this season feels intense. You are standing at the edge of a shift. If you feel tired, that is because growth uses energy. If you feel emotional, that is because layers are falling away. If you feel alert right now, that is because your spirit recognizes truth. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Stay open. Stay present. Stay with this message. Because the next part reveals what is being prepared for you, and why this moment matters more than you realize. Be still for a moment. If your heart feels tired, if your thoughts feel heavy, if life has been pressing you from all sides, this moment is not accidental. You are here because something is shifting around you, and your spirit sensed it before your mind could explain it. There are seasons when nothing seems clear. You pray, but answers feel delayed. You move forward, yet resistance keeps appearing. You try to stay strong, but inside you feel quietly overwhelmed. These moments are not signs of failure. They are signs of transition. Right now, something unseen is rearranging the path in front of you. What you have been experiencing lately, the delays, the sudden emotions, the unexpected memories, the feeling that something is about to change, these are not random events. They are signals, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. God does not always speak through loud moments. Often, He speaks through patterns. You may have noticed that certain doors did not open, even when you tried your best. You may have felt protected from situations that once seemed important. You may have been pulled away from people you thought would always stay close. At the time, it felt painful or confusing. But now, you are beginning to understand. What was removed was not meant to stay. What was delayed was being reshaped. What felt like silence was actually direction. There is something God is preparing to release into your life that requires alignment, not effort. That is why the pressure increased before the breakthrough. That is why you felt stretched before the relief. You are being repositioned, not punished. And here is the part many people miss. When God prepares to protect and elevate His chosen ones, He sharpens their discernment first. He trains your spirit to notice subtle signs. He makes you pause when others rush. He gives you unease where others feel comfort. That inner check you felt recently, that was guidance. That moment you decided to wait, that was wisdom. That pull to step back, that was protection. Nothing about your journey is being wasted. Even the confusion had a purpose. It slowed you down enough to see what others would have missed. Right now, heaven is not asking you to struggle harder. It is asking you to trust deeper, to stay alert, to stay humble, to stay connected. You are closer than you realize to clarity. The very things that felt uncertain are beginning to line up. The answers you asked for are already moving toward you, quietly, steadily, in perfect timing. Do not let doubt talk louder than truth. God sees what you cannot see yet. He knows what is forming behind the scenes. And He chose this moment, this exact moment, to remind you that you are not alone, not forgotten, and not unprotected. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay open. Because what comes next will make sense of everything you went through before.